hope you're all having a wonderful and blessed day if you're watching this video. Mine is doing great. Actually, I'm sitting out here by the water, as it is always calling me. I'm a Pisces, so I'm drawn to the water. I guess it's pretty much known since I live in Florida. Like, I pretty much love the water. But yeah, I'm gonna take this video out to tell everybody about my experience a couple of weekends ago with ayahuasca. That was definitely, in my mind, in my opinion, a life-changing decision I made for myself that really is going to go for the better of me going forward. To give a little bit backstory on it, I knew nothing what ayahuasca was, never heard of it, none of that. A real good friend of mine, he hit me up on social media back in, I'll say, February, and he sent me a link. He was like, hey, check this out. It's in your state. It's not too far from you. See if you're interested. I don't know whether he just called me at a bad time or what, but I was just like, nah. Didn't even really look into it. Didn't even think about really looking into it. I was just like, nah, man, it's not for me. So he kept insisting I look into it, and I'm like, all right, man, I'll look into it. About a month went by. I still had not looked into it yet. I think I clicked on the link once, glazed at it, and then just closed it again. Didn't really digest or take in what I was seeing or reading. But during that month, I still had a voice that kept telling me, like, open the link, look at it, like, give it some time, marinate on it, you know what I'm saying? So even though that voice kept telling me, I kept ignoring it. So needless to say, my friend, he ends up hitting me up about a month later. Hey, man, have you checked out that link yet? Nah, B. Not yet. But so at that moment I was like, okay, he's checking back on me with it, and I keep having this persistent feeling and voice telling me to look into this. So I finally looked into it, and I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. So I'm intrigued. Now tell me more. And he starts telling me more about ayahuasca and how it's beneficial for people who suffers different mental ailments such as depression, anxiety, PTSD for military veterans. If you've had childhood traumas, i.e. rape, child abuse, a traumatic event, whatever have you or ails you mentally or even sometimes physically, like, this medicine can be truly beneficial to you. Truly beneficial. And it has been showing it with consistent regularity that people who have tried it have shown vast improvements of their conditions. So he started sending me testimonial videos of people on YouTube who've done ayahuasca. They traveled down to Peru or down to Costa Rica, and they've done it in those locations. Because at the time, prior to this conversation, he was completely unaware we had centers for it here in the United States. So he's sending me the videos, and I'm watching them, and one of the videos really stuck out to me because one of the young ladies in the video suffered from a condition that I myself suffer from, which is anxiety, primarily when driving. Like, it developed out of nowhere a few years ago. In my mind, completely uncalled for, but it came up out of nowhere, and one of the ladies in the videos was suffering from it herself. So she was telling of her story, and then her experience with the ayahuasca and at the retreat, and how it changed her life. And by the end of the video, she was like, my driving anxiety is gone. It's like it never existed. And I was like, you know. So I mean, if I can get that aspect of my life back to where I'm not feeling like I'm in this mental prison cell when I'm behind the steering wheel of a car, like I am down. Sign me up. So without thinking on it too long, I was like, let's go. Like, let's sign it. Like, let's book it up. So we did it. We booked our tickets for the retreat. It was the weekend of April 12th through the 14th. And it was at Soul Quest. It's located over in Orlando, Florida. It's called Soul Quest, the Church of Mother Ayahuasca. And it was nerve-wracking, to say the least, when I initially signed up. It was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, here we go. So to pause the story there, to go more in depth with this, on especially what ayahuasca is. Ayahuasca is a plant-based medicine that's harvested from a plant that's only located in the Amazon rainforest. This plant does have DMT properties when combined properly with other natural herbal ingredients, and it can also unlock the natural DMT properties that we all already possess inside of our own brains. So if that was too much jargon for you, like, this medicine can be like a hallucinogenic. And me, myself, I never experimented with LSD, nothing with acid, nothing that altered my state to where I was seeing things. So it was a bit nerve wracking at first. So I signed up for the retreat, and immediately the founders and the facilitators they begin emailing you. They begin emailing you, and they're in constant email contact with you. They're telling you like what to expect, suggested things like a suggested diet. When you want to drink the medicine ayahuasca, you don't want to have alcohol in your diet. You don't want to have a lot of red heavy meats, steak. You definitely don't want pork, nothing fried. You really want to eat clean. And the suggested diet has a timeline of basically of when you should discontinue food items. I think it was like a week out for like heavy meats and alcohol and stuff and pork and things. And then as you get closer to your date of your arrival, by the time you get there, you should be eating nothing but like salads, fruits, and water. Like, you should be clean. Like, there should be no kind of impure food should be entering your body in that state. Because you want your you know what I'm saying? Like, you want your vessel as clean and as clear as possible. So surprisingly, I actually did very well with the diet. I stuck to it pretty strong. I drank nothing but water and herbal teas like suggested. They also email you a list of medicines that you should not take, because the plant medicine, though it is completely 100% natural, it can have counteracting effects if you're already taking medicines for like depression and things like that. So they kind of suggest that you discontinue using those if you are on those. And if you have any questions, they have a contact number and everything. You can call them. They have their own health group of medical professionals who can guide you along if you have any questions about medications and things like that. So then as time is getting closer, and I'm talking to my friend more, he's getting ready to come into town because he was flying here to Florida, and then we were going to drive over to Orlando to have this retreat. And I'm talking to him, and I'm like, hey man, like I was using the term nervously anxious. Like, I was anxious to see what was around the corner, but I was also nervous as to what was also around that same corner. You know what I'm saying? Because the medicine itself, it is basically told it's going to show you what you need to see. And it's not the same for every single person. It's different from person A to person B, from John to Jane Doe. So that uncertainty of what it was going to reveal was very unsettling and unnerving to me, So I was kind of hesitant, like, oh man. So I kept talking to him, talking to my wife, and they were basically helping me along with it. Just encouraging me, So pretty much time got there. He ends up coming into town that Thursday, the Thursday before we left out, and pretty much that Thursday we ate very light, pretty much ate vegan that whole time. That Friday, the day of the actual ceremony, by that time my butterflies had subsided. I was just like, okay, we're doing this. It's kind of like being on a roller coaster. Like, once you strapped in, just going, it's like, all right, like, no point of being afraid now because the ride is going. You know what I'm saying? Like, just ride it out to the end. So Friday comes, and we travel over to Orlando to Soul Quest, and the retreat started at 6 p.m. Because of traffic and other various issues, we cut it close. We got there at like 5:45. So by the time we got there, everybody else was there. We're running in last minute. And we're quickly greeted by the co-founder, Chris. Real nice guy, real personable guy. He greeted us, he signed us in, and then he gave us a little tour on our way back to where everyone was already meeting up at, because like I said, the meeting was already getting ready to begin. Um, so he walks us through the house, which is a very large house. There's like multiple add-on rooms and bedrooms. So he walks through the house. We go out to the backyard, which is a huge, vast open land area. It has a beautiful lake with like lily pads. It's like the most, I was telling my friend, man, like this lake was like the most pristine cartoon looking lake you can ever imagine. Like I have never really seen lily pads. It was just covered in lily pads, and all I could picture was like the cartoons with the lily pads and the frogs jumping from one to one. But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting off topic. But the backyard is a vast area, and it has tents and outside bathrooms and outside showers and everything like that around. And in the center is this giant tent. It looks similar to like the tents, like the giant tent at like circuses where the acts are, and you see the elephants on the hind legs and everything like that. But it's called a Molokai, and that is where the primary ceremonies are held. And this is where everyone was stationed. Everyone was in there, and when we entered the Molokai, everyone was already sitting in a circle. This big circle of about, I'm gonna say probably about 40 to 45 people. I'm gonna say at least about 40, 45 people, and they're sitting in this big circle around the perimeter of the inside of the Molokai, and in the center is this indented area where there's also a fire pit. So we come in quietly, we quickly find our seats, we sit down, and Chris, the co-founder who ushered us in and showed us around, he's now on the microphone. He's introducing himself, and he's telling us a story about his history and how ayahuasca has helped changed his life and put his life back on the correct path. And the other co-founder, Verena, she gave her testimonial, and once they gave theirs and the facilitator gave theirs, then it was time to pass around the mic and everybody introduced themselves. You had to tell your name, where you're from, and basically just tell your intentions of being there. And by intentions, that's saying what do you want to get out of this? So like a lot of people was like, I'm Jane Doe from Wisconsin. I want to work on my severe depression, anxiety, and drug addictions. And then you pass the mic. So the mic went from person to person. Ended up getting to myself, and I gave my intentions. I'm Jared from Florida, and my intention was I wanted to address my anxiety, and I have off and on kind of like little bouts of like where kind of like alcoholism a little bit. I really wanted to focus on that, and also like where am I headed in life, basically. So and also relationships, just like relationships in general. So after everyone goes around and they give their info about why they're there and all that, we are then given these large cups of herbal tea. Nothing special about the tea, just a natural herbal tea. It's very fragrant. They brought it in, everybody gets a glass, and the purpose of this is to basically just detox your body, to get it ready for the medicine or the ayahuasca you're going to take later that evening. So at that time, we all get our cups. You're pretty much asked to drink it kind of quickly, because you're going to want it to sit in your stomach for about 20 to 30 minutes. During that time, we're meditating. And after that 20 to 30 minute mark, we're issued these little leaves. And with these leaves, you are instructed to make yourself purge. Purge is another word for vomit. So with this leaf, you are instructed to basically stick it down your throat and induce a vomit session to get all of the toxins and everything out of you. Needless to say, if you had any reserve nature or hesitancy about it, it went out the window with this. Like, you're surrounded by 40 to 45 people who are just all around you. So, you know what I'm saying? So that sense of that wall being built up, like, man, like I'm nervous. Oh, it was knocked down immediately. I myself, since I really hadn't been eating, I was almost on a fast a little bit. I was pretty much empty and devoid of food. I had to drink about 3 cups of the water to purge up anything, and really hardly anything even came up then. After that part of the ceremony, everyone exited the Molokai, moving to the outside ceremonial area, where we started to receive instructions about the actual medicine of ayahuasca, which was going to be taken roughly an hour from that point. So we're sitting outside. Chris is facilitating it, the co-founder, and he's telling us everything that we are to expect, and like the do's and don'ts. Basically, he's explaining to us that Friday night is the introduction night. Most people there have never ever had ayahuasca. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how it will affect their bodies. So the first night, it's highly suggested, unless you've done it before, to just do 1 tablespoon only. Get your feet wet. If after a couple of hours you feel as though you're not feeling anything, or you feel as though you can go a little bit further, they do have boosters, and they'll give you a boost. So after we receive those instructions, we then are blessed over again. Our bodies are cleansed by the facilitators, who are absolutely beautiful, by the way. They are dressed in all white, and man, they just have this natural glow and aura about them, and their job is only to facilitate and to help aid throughout the entire process of the whole retreat. After they cleanse us and pretty much we're blessed over, we are then asked again to go to this campfire and to state our intentions in our minds. And we have, I'm forgetting the name of like this kind of grain we had in our hands. And once we had our intentions in our mind, we we cast the grains into the fire and let the fire consume them. And then we took our place back down like where we were seated. After this was completed, then everyone went back inside the Molokai where we were originally, and it was beginning time to get the ceremony. The shamans are there. It was a gentleman and a female. They were completely in charge. They're at the front, and they are standing in front of the table with the cups of ayahuasca on it. At this moment, all of the ease I had was starting to it was starting to come back. Like, oh man, this is it. This is it. Oh my gosh. So you're instructed to go to your seating area. Inside the Molokai, it's the ceremonial area, but it's also the area where the majority of the people sleep at. So around the perimeter of this huge circular tent are little mats on the floor, and this is where you sleep at. And so once we go back into the Molokai, you're instructed to go back and sit on your mat. And you sit on your mat, and everyone files in quietly. We're blessed and cleansed again by the shamans. And then by that time, we're instructed to get up and get in line to receive the sacrament, or the ayahuasca. So as you're going through the line, like I said, Chris pretty much said it's the first night, so he suggests that everyone takes just 1 tablespoon if you have never done this before. But the shamans are so ingratiated with the medicine and the spiritual side of it. They literally have the ability to look at you in your eyes and tell you how much you need. So as you're going through the line, it's certain people that when the shaman picks up the cup, he looks at them in the eyes for like 3 seconds. He's just like, dos, tres, uno, and it was like, yo, I hope I'm not one of these tres. Like, oh my gosh. Luckily for me, I was just uno, 1. So I take the cup and I go back to my sitting area, and I sit down cross-legged, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this drink, and I'm just like, it comes like in a little shot glass, like a traditional shot glass that we all have seen before. And the tablespoon is about that much in it. Not much at all. It has the look of like brownie batter almost. It's brown, it's kind of thick. It looks like brownie batter, like before you put it in the oven. And you smell it, and like a little later you find out that it tastes just like how it smells. exactly how it smells. Like it's crazy. After everyone receives their sacrament and they're sitting down all around the campfire and we're all quiet, the shamans bless over everyone all over again, and then now it is time to pretty much take the medicine. I'm seeing people one by one drink it, and at this moment in my mind, I'm just like, "Yep, this is it. Ain't no turning back. Oh, we in here, ain't we?" Like, oh man, we are in here. So I was like, "Well, this is why I signed up for this. Like, let's go." And I just took it back. Most people describe the flavor as terrible. Some not so bad. To me, I've had worse. I've told people this, and to me, like the way it tasted to me, it tasted like three distinct ingredients. It tastes like prune juice mixed with a little bit of teriyaki sauce and some coffee grounds to give it a gritty kind of texture. Like, if you can picture those three things together, this is, in my opinion, what it tastes like exactly. So I take it and I feel it go down my throat, and I'm just like, oh, it's in my stomach now. Like, here we go. Here we go. Like, there's no coming back from this. Like, I'm just like, what's finna happen? So I sit my cup down, and I sit back on my mat and I close my eyes and I start to basically meditate. I just start to meditate. I just close my eyes and I'm just focusing on my breathing and things like that. After about 10 to 15 minutes, subtle things started happening. First thing I think I noticed was during the ceremony inside the Molokai, there's no lights on. You just have that. When I told you guys, like, there's a fire pit in the center, like in the indented center of the Molokai, it's a fire pit, and that is lit. That is the only source of light inside of this room now. So we're just flickering flames and dancing shadows. And during that, there's some very nice speakers playing like Native American tribal music, and it's very thumping and harmonic, and it's very soothing. Like, it's not like the typical music you hear. Like, it's very like it moves something inside you. It's kind of hard to explain. But the first thing I started to realize was I was kind of moving to the beat, like without my knowing. I'm kind of just swaying my head, and I'm kind of like in a trance-like state. I'm somewhere else now. And then once I noticed that my body was kind of just on its own, kind of grooving with the music, I started seeing colors. Like, as my eyes was closed, I'm starting to see flashes of light, and I'm seeing beautiful shapes, and they're glimmering, and they're just going by my vision back and forth. I saw an image of almost like a peacock tail, like waving, going by my eyes and things like that. So with the music going on, with me sitting here dancing in my seat, me seeing these beautiful shapes in front of me, like, I'm really getting lost in the moment. It's like, even though you're seeing all these things, you are still completely aware. You're still completely aware. Like, you're not inebriated. You're not going to the world. If someone would have came up and tapped me on my shoulder and asked me a question, I still could have answered that question as I'm talking to you now. But when you're in there, when your eyes are closed and you're in that meditative state, you are just like, you're lost within yourself. Like, you are just you are at complete peace. So I'm having a grand time grooving to this music. I'm having a grand time by seeing these colors. By this time, I'm starting to see animals, like colorful snakes are coming into the picture, and they're kind of winding and dancing to the music themselves. And that was pretty cool to look at. Colorful frogs and things like that. And then after a while, it kind of felt like it started to wear off, just a little bit. So then they sounded a gong, and that was the sign that it was time for a booster for anybody who wanted to take a booster. So I was like, I think I'm up to it. Various people around me seemed like they were fine and they didn't need the booster, so they didn't scoot to the edge of the bed to get the additional shot. But I was like, I think I can handle another one. I scooted to the edge of the bed. My eyes were still kind of closed because even though it was starting to wear off a little bit, I was still vibing to the music. I was still lost. I had this overwhelming feeling, a sense of just love, man, of just bliss, just pure bliss. So I scooted to the edge of the bed. My eyes are still closed, and at this moment, the shaman and one of the facilitators, they're going person to person, and in my mind, they were giving out the booster. The booster was the additional tablespoon of the ayahuasca. So, like, my eyes are closed. I don't see what's going on. So I'm just assuming all this stuff is going on. Which was weird because taking the ayahuasca, it typically makes people purge, and I had not purged yet. I was just lost in this nice feeling fantasy world of just pure bliss and love. I did not purge yet. So, but numerous other people were purging all around me, and you can hear it going on. So at this time, the shaman steps in front of me. I hear him I hear him with my eyes closed. I hear him and the fit in front of me, and they're just like, stand up. Stand up? Like, for what? Like, you can't just give me my drink while I'm sitting here and I can just drink it? So I stand up, kind of confused, and that's when I realized I wasn't getting a booster. At this time, I should enlighten y'all about a thing called rape. Rape is something else. I'm going to preface that statement with that. Rape is something else. Rape is, the shaman carries this flute-like instrument and is packed with like the shamanic tobacco and I guess other various sacred herbal ingredients, and it's ground up real finely and it's put inside this flute. So when I stand up in front of him, he has the flute in one hand and he has this bottle of some kind of it's some kind of liquid. I'm not certain what it is, but it's very fragrant, whatever it is. So I say that my eyes are open, and he's like, and the facilitator is like, close your eyes. So I start to close my eyes, and as I'm closing my eyes, I see the shaman. He takes a sip of the liquid, and as he's taking a sip of the liquid, like all of a sudden I feel a spray on my face, almost like he just on my face, and I'm just like, whoa. But I'm so lost in this trance and everything that's going on, I'm really not even paying attention to the fact that he did that. Immediately once doing that, he starts pushing on my forehead, like he's touching and poking right here. I can tell that he's looking for the third eye. I guess after he finds it, he taps on it a couple of times and he rubs it, and then after that he basically he puts the flute to my left nostril, tells me to take a deep breath and hold it. I do it, I hold it, and then he just shoots up the tobacco stuff into my nostril. When I tell you, this feels like a shotgun blast to the back. Like, it felt like the back of my head was blown off. My entire brain was burning. Like, it's the kind of burn that just hurts because you can't do anything about it because it's inside your head. Like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you burn your finger, you can put ice on it. If you cut your hand, you can, you know what I'm saying, like, put peroxide or something on it. This was inside my head, so I just kind of had to, like, just deal with it. It was the longest 10 seconds of struggling to, like, breathe of my life. Hands down. I didn't want to do it no more, but the facilitator was like, you got to do it, man. Like, just do the last nostril. And I was like, all right. So I took a deep breath. I was like, let's go. So he said, take a deep breath and hold it. So I took a deep breath. I held it. And then he did the second nostril. That one burned too. Not nearly as bad as the first nostril, but it still burned quite a bit. After immediately blowing that second one, they told me, sit down. Okay, so I hurried up and sat down. Like, my head is on fire. Like, snot is starting to come pouring. Tears are starting to come pouring. I don't know what's going on with my body. I have no idea what's going on with my body at this point. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh gosh. I'm sitting on this map and I'm just like, I feel like my body just starts to vibrate. from deep within, it just starts to like vibrate. It starts to shake. Like it started like within my core, and it reverberated out to my extremities, all the way down to my hands, to the point where I ended up like putting my hands on the ground, and like my hands are just like, my whole body's just shaking. It was like I didn't even tell myself to do it. I inherently grabbed, it's called a purge bucket. It's like a little disposable trash can, and this is where you purge into. I inherently grabbed this and I put it in front of me, and I'm on all fours. And it is like I'm on all fours, and like again, I'm barely holding myself up because my body's just shaking. It almost felt like it was inducing like an anxiety attack. And I'm sitting here freaking out, like, man, what the hell? And then I just start to like get closer and closer to the bucket, and I just like start like purging. But like I said, I really had not been eating anything, so nothing was really coming up. And then during the purge was when I believe the medicine, Mother Ayahuasca, was trying to, I believe she was trying to start some lessons there. Because when I started to purge, I was starting to see the spiraling blue light, almost like water going down a drain, like that little whirlpool it does going down like a bathtub. But it was like blue lights. And the blue lights were spiraling, going into the bottom of the trash can. So I'm purging, and the more I purge, I'm going deeper and deeper into the blue tunnel. And as I'm going down this blue tunnel, I'm like, I started to see like these kind of scary set of eyes, almost like all black eyes, kind of looking at me. And the more I purged, the closer I got to these eyes, which, like, the closer I got to it, kind of made me anxious. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. What the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? So the medicine, Mother Ayahuasca, is very intuitive. She listens to you. She only shows you, she will give you the hard lesson and show you things that you need to see if she feels fit, or she feels as though you are ready. But overall, she is very she's working with you. She's working with you on what you're trying to accomplish. So the moment I had that thought of, I don't know what those eyes are, like, no, what the hell is this going on right now? It stopped. And when that stopped, the purging stopped. So then I kind of laid back on my bath mat, not a bath mat, but the kind of bed mat, and I'm sitting there. I'm finally able to stop purging and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of just laying there with my eyes closed. And like I said earlier in the video, the room was dark. There was a campfire, and even with your eyes closed, you can see the flickering of the lights through your eyelids. As I'm laying there, everything starts to go dark, like thick dark, like the thickest dark I've ever seen. I'm just being swallowed by this void, basically. And then again, that frightened and panicked me. So I was like, whoa, what is going on? I don't like this. And I stopped. So right when I had that thought, the vision stopped. Like the blackness just subsided, and I could then see just the colorful lights again and the flickering lights through my eyelids. Upon it stopping, I realized that was probably Mother Ayahuasca having me face my anxiety. Like anxiety was getting ready to present itself, and I basically was pushing stop on the movie before I let the movie finish, before I can confront this inner demon I want to freaking have abolished from my life. Upon me realizing that, and I'm like telling myself, like, man, I really want to actually go back and confront that, Mother Ayahuasca wouldn't take me back to it. Because I think she can tell deep down, she's just like, you're not ready for it. Like, I tried twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, you push it away twice. Like, we'll try again another time. So for the rest of that evening, I basically was laying on my bed, and unbeknownst to me, like, my body was doing a lot of stuff I had no idea until I physically looked at it. Like, I don't know how long I was doing it, but I was like just lovingly rubbing myself, just caressing, like how you caress a loved one or your lover or your kids or whoever. I was just caressing myself all over, and I was just in pure love and bliss. And then I got this feeling that she was trying to teach me self-love is important. Like, you need to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody needs to just love themselves first and things like that. I didn't know that was a lesson that I needed to learn, but clearly she saw something within me that had to show that to myself. So the rest of the night was just me being in bliss, lovingly touching myself, and then I ended up just like passing out and pretty much going to sleep. Woke up the next day and I felt rejuvenated. Felt like $1,000,000. I felt better after experiencing the first night and knowing what to expect at that time. So a lot of my nervousness about the retreat and everything was subsided at that moment. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty much like conquering your fears. Like the very thing that you were fearing, like you climbed that hurdle. So it was a lot easier for me going forward with the rest of the retreat with, you know what I'm saying, just like a better outlook. So so the next day was Saturday. Saturday started with yoga, but unfortunately I slept through all of that. So when I woke up, it was time for the daytime ceremony. The daytime ceremony, just like the Friday night ceremony, consists of you drinking the medicine and meditation. But this time it's done it's done at I think we started like noon, like 11, like at like 11:30 or noon we started. But this one, you don't drink it inside the Molokai. You drink it outside, like in the woods. You just get like a nice mat. They got some nice, same kind of like Native American tribunal music playing, and that is where the ceremony is held. A lot of people said that the daytime ceremony is sometimes the most profound from them because for a multitude of reasons. One is Friday night has calmed your nerves. You see how the medicine works, so you're no longer fearful of it. The key to this medicine of Mother Ayahuasca is to surrender. It's hard to surrender when you are completely unaware of what to expect. I mean, it's just a natural human response to things. You know what I'm saying? So after you have that Friday night experience, you see how it operates in your body. You see it's not what your mind is trying to make it out to be, like, oh my, like it's gonna show me scary things and all this. You let your guard down. So Saturdays daytime ceremonies are usually a lot more fruitful for people, and they're shown a lot more visions, and they learn a lot more about themselves at that time. And also at the Saturday ceremonies, you're able to take as much medicine as you want. It's no longer, hey, just take a tablespoon. If you want 2 tablespoons, you can take 2. If you want 3, go at it. If you want 4, have at it. 6, have a blast, buddy. It's a plant-based medicine. You cannot OD on it. Like, it's not a pharmaceutical drug cooked up in a lab. It's harvested from a jungle, mixed together, and served. Like, so daytime ceremony comes around. I find my mat. I see my buddy. He's on the other side of the clearing in these woods, and I'm sitting on my mat on the opposite side. I got a nice little spot. I thought it was in the shade. Not really. I laid down, and it felt like the sun was 5 feet above my head. They come in and they ask, like, how much people are gonna drink. I said 2 tablespoons. So I got my glass of 2 tablespoons, and then before they took the medicine away, they was like, does anybody want any more before we go take the medicine back? Something was like, yeah, get a little bit more. I was like, all right. And this something kind of felt like the same something that kept telling me to open up the link that my friend had sent me, and I was consistently ignoring. So I was like, you know what, I'm listening to this time.